Greetings, Patrick here. Have Cheeto will view 8 questions with, and welcome to the show. It's Thursday. Uh, we are in Australia again today, here on the 19th of June. The first thing I will say is thank you to everybody for all the wonderful wishes. Today is my wedding anniversary. It would have been 21 years today. Things had gone differently. Um, and a lot of people came by and said, happy anniversary. I really do appreciate it. And as of lately, of course, we wish happy anniversary to our own super couple. And that's Kelly Goody Price and her husband, Dan. I wish them a happy anniversary as well. Um, yeah, yeah, it's been a rough week, to tell you the truth. Um, Doing a good job though, because nobody would really know it. But this week has really been it's been really tough. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Um, but we have laughs, right? We have laughs. Um, uh, so and we had laughs today. If you guys want to go check out, hey internet, it's Eric. You need to slide on over there and check out. I got him in full rant mode. I haven't done that really full rant mode. I haven't really got him there since Corn Sharks, and then before that Wheezy Shark. But I got him pretty good today with Mountain Shark. And next week I'm probably gonna have to move because I'm sure he'll hunt me down like a dog when he sees the movie I sent him. Hey Steve, how are you? How are you? All right. Steve and Lucas Boy. That's right, our good pal Lucas Boy here watching a little interview with Addison Heath and Jasmine Jakupi. They own and operate Black Forest Films, Black Forest Studios in Australia. And tonight we'll be talking about their films that they've worked on. They worked on quite a few, including their new one that just now is going to be entering production, and that is the grand finale. That is going to be interesting. It's a New York Odyssey. The grand finale, a New York Odyssey, and it has a strong cast to it. So James Duval, Lloyd Kaufman, Uncle Lloyd, the lovely Alyssa Dowling, she of the beautiful blue eyes. Of course, the mighty Debbie Rochon. Debbie Rochon can do no wrong in my eyes. Ezra Buzzington's going to be in it. John Cantwell. Galen Howard is going to be in the movie. And as you know, Galen was a guest here. That's right. He came over and answered his 8 questions, and we had a great time with Galen. So it's good. It's good to see some people that we know in some of these films. It's pretty interesting when I see new movies come out, and I look at there and I start noticing that wow, we've talked to this person, we've talked to this person, we talked to this person. It's interesting. It's a lot of fun. Thank you, sir. Yes, we will see you Sunday night. Sunday night, that's right. Me and Eric, and we're hoping the Bat. Um, we will be reuniting this Sunday night at 8 o'clock as we welcome in film director extraordinaire, Mr. Adam Marcus, will be coming back and saying hello to us. And we'll be talking about his new documentary, his passion project, him and his hardworking skeleton crew have put together called Hearts of Darkness, the final Friday story, and he's telling the story about how the movie got made. I cannot wait to talk to Adam about this. I'm so happy for him too. Like I mentioned the other night, a lot of people are really decisive on this movie. In fact, I was talking to my fellow Midnight Society guy, my pal, the buddy, my Nat JT. We were talking about how illogical horror fans are when it comes down to Friday the 13th. Um, they always they always bitch about, well, it's not Jason, it's just a spirit jumping from body to body. Let me just ask you a question, horror fans. Why the hell do you like The Exorcist for? Why the hell do you like Freddy Krueger for? They both have the same damn gimmick. They both go body to body to body. It's I just don't. I just couldn't understand it. I just don't. That's what makes The Exorcist so amazing. Is the fact that she's possessed. And it's a terrific. It's a classic horror film. But having Jason do it, all of a sudden that's taboo. I like for the love of God, I can't explain that one. Someone needs to come up here and tell me how narrow-minded that point of view is, because I'm lost. Lady Valerie is here. All right, and Anthony is here as well. Yeah, see, Exorcist 3. And you met Debbie Rochon. Yes, I've met Debbie Rochon too. Debbie Rochon is about as real as it gets. She is just one very, very cool lady. Um, and she's really overcome a lot too. So, like, I didn't know this. I didn't know that she had an accident and she lost 4 fingers at the first knuckle. They had to go back there and they had to go back there and put them on her hand. Yeah, she lost fingers, almost. And they had to go in there and operate and reattach her fingers. Uh, yeah, why do they like the same damn thing happening? Yeah, but no doubt. Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much. But of course, I know that my good buddy, my ride and die, Final Friday fan would come up with that. That's exactly right. Look at the damn thing. Goes from body to body to body. I can't like that because they're invading the body. Just pack your lunch and go home. All right. Steven is here, and he is about ready to fly, I believe, taking a vacation himself. And we do hope for the very, very best for you, Steven. We really do, on your very long trip, and wish you nothing but the best. And so when you can come back and get the House of Horrors restarted. That's right. Time to bring it back. Um, so we do have a schedule change today. We do have a schedule change. This Saturday at 8 o'clock, we were scheduled to do a REAP watch along party with director screenwriter Joe Leone. But through Bayview Entertainment, they have arranged to have a viewing in New York on a TV station. There as a feature presentation of REAP. So they would like to have us move our date, even though we're really, really tiny, and who the hell would know we're doing it? Still, they asked Joe and Peter and the crew at Bayview if they could go ahead and just have that exclusive area for REAP on Saturday. So I said yes. Of course, I said yes. So it's going to be on television. So I'm really excited for Joe. We're going to try to remove the date to July 12th. So we'll get Joe Leone in here, and we'll talk all things REAP. So let's see. Let's see. Oh, I see what you said, Steven. Okay. Oh, yes, that's right. That's right. So it's been 10 months since you met your soulmate. Oh, I get it. I get it. Cool. Brother Max is in the house. Brother Max rolling in strong. All right. So Saturday is gone. Saturday will be. I don't know. I might do a watch party. I'm feeling like I still want to do a watch party. I might go ahead and find something on Tubi and just crank it up myself for Saturday night, and we'll do a watch party. I'll know by the end of the night or not if I'm going to do it. If I do, I'll make a banner for it, and we can all hang out and and do a watch party. Something fun. All right. So that's what's going on with this weekend. So next Monday we have. I'm going to need some help on this too. In fact, I'm going to have the net do it. Oh my gosh, that's just amazing. So, so the 17th we have, or the 23rd, we have two shows on the 23rd. Clash of the Titans, Clash of the Titans. That's right. The first one, I'm battling Pugwall 316, otherwise known as Matt Cuss, from Pugwall 316. He and I will be discussing the Clash of the Titans, the two worst films, worst, like not good, not good, but bad. And if it makes you feel any better, Eric, there are movies worse than Mountain Shark, and I'm bringing one to the party. Um, Pugwall's going to be bringing, Matt's going to be bringing The Room with Tommy Wiseau. I know that movie's bad, but that movie's actually become rather beloved, right? It's a cult classic. Everybody seems to really dig on it, and I mean, they go there for. It's like watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's silly, it's goofy. Everybody gets along, gets into it. They throw lines at the screen. I'm not really sure they can qualify The Room as a really a bad movie anymore. But you sure as hell can count on mine being a bad movie because we're bringing Superman 4 to the party. That's a bad movie. That's a bad movie. I think I'd rather watch, honest to God, I think I'd rather watch Mountain Shark than Superman 4, but I picked it for the party. I only have one other film in my collection that I hate worse than Superman 4. Um, that's to me, it's just like, oh, God, jeez, really? I only have one, but I saved that. I'm saving that one for another day. So we will be here at 3 o'clock on Monday, and we'll be chopping it up with Matt. Let me see if make sure that my guests are okay. Uh, yes. Me and Joe were talking about Joe Leone's casting. If anybody who's watched a Joe Leone show knows I always have to rave about his casting. And you know what it was I heard today? I was trying to figure out like who can I compare Joe Leone's Midas touch with, right? Like, you see Joe's cast and you're going like, how does that guy do that? How does he do that? Who else can do that? Who else can do that? And then today I was reminded of who else could do that and has done that and continues to do that, book above his weight, cast above his weight. And that is none other than Joe Lynch. Joe Lynch is exactly what Joe Leone is. God, could you imagine those two guys that ever got together to cast a movie? They could co-direct it and co-cast it. Just the possibilities. Just thinking about the possibilities. I don't know what the movie would be about, but I can tell you that cast would be freaking dynamite. It's, I mean, it could be just four people in a room watching the paint dry, but it's gonna be four really talented actors in there that Joe and Adam would bring into the party. And then on Monday night at our regular time at 8 o'clock, we'll be once again, and I'm going to need a little help on this again, to contact our friend PlatX2, our friend Jonathan, to let him know that we are still going on at 8 o'clock. He only has one social media outlet that I think of, that's Instagram, and right now they try to block me on Threads. That worked for like 3 days for no reason. I got no warning whatsoever. They blocked me off from that. I appealed it, got restored, but they haven't done it still yet for my Instagram. I have no idea. It tells me, I think it's telling me that someone did hack me. That's what it's telling me. Someone did hack me. So, so we will be talking Golden Age of Actresses on Monday for Clash of the Titans. John will be talking about Jean Arthur, just a beautiful actress, a very funny one, known for her wit, known for her skills. I'll be bringing Myrna Loy to the party for that one. Yes, Myrna Loy from the Thin Man series, just absolutely way ahead of her time detective series. A lot of fun. William Powell and Myrna Loy. They did six films in the Thin Man series, and it's definitely one of my very favorite of the golden age of Hollywood. There is Ant from Ant Review Things. Speaking of the friendly men, we will toss out a happy birthday to Jonas, our favorite Jonas brother, Jonas. It is his birthday today. So happy birthday to him. And James said earlier that next time he sees Jonas, the Dairy Queen run is on him. So don't eat anything before you go, Jonas. And Ant will be here. I believe Ant will be here on the 27th to hang out with me as we will be talking with the band Prison City Brigade at 8 o'clock on the 25th of June, 26th of June. I used to do work, just not very well. We'll be talking with them, and that'll be on the 26th of June at 8 o'clock. Hopefully, I will be, like I said, I'll be joined by Ant, and because he helped me get the show, and hopefully we can bring him up there, and once again, 8 questions we'll team up with the friendly men. All right. Then on the 28th, Saturday, the 28th, next Saturday at actually 28th, not next Saturday, but on the 28th at 4 o'clock, we will be talking with Joe Cornett, Alexander Nevsky, and Tatiana Nevin, as we will be talking about the Wide West, which is Joe and Alexander's new movie. It's coming out. It's already out on Zumo TV. That's a like it's NBC's version of Tubi. A lot of free movies on there, and they've gotten better at running their commercials. They have gotten better. I saw taken from Rio Bravo there. Man, I think the commercials were longer than the movie, but they fixed that, and so the movie flows a lot better. And so we'll be talking with them about the big the Wide West on the 28th at 4 p.m. And then the last show of the month, we will be on the road going to see Ben over at Cadaver Clubs, and we'll be watching and discussing Anything for Jackson, which will be our very first Shudder film that we have done. We have not done a Shudder film on the IFC show, but now since they are united, we will be doing that. All right, let me get our guests have come on, so I'm going to go get them. Addison Heath and Jasmine Jakupi. I'm sure I killed the name. What else is new? There they are. Let me see if I can actually squeeze this out a little better.
Okay, cool.
Well, plus, I never want to miss a chance to show off my background.
Yeah.
Always good to see.
Yes. That is a guardian angel that is actually behind you.
Okay.
And it comes from a movie called A Dark Song, which was an English film that came out in 2016, and I absolutely love the movie so much, and it features a guardian angel in it. It's absolutely tremendous. Yes, we have a busy month, and we're gonna have a busy day right here, right now. I'm glad to be back in Australia. Last week we talked to horror host Tate Irons, talk horror with Tate. I'm not sure if you know him or not. Do you?
I don't know. Is he a Melbourne guy?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. What's his name? Sorry.
Tate.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I'll send you his channel.
Yeah,
that would be great. Yeah, that would be great.
I'll have to definitely check it out.
He's a very nice young man. Very nice, very professional, and I had a great time with him last week. I actually had a blast with him. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I love going down and talking films with Australian filmmakers. It's because they all come at it with you guys come at it with looking at it so differently than most American filmmakers do. And it's
Yeah.
always refreshing to see your point of view. Our chat is here. I just want to say hi to them. Thank you for staying with us. I see Ant and Steve are still hanging out with us. Yeah, so we started talking about doing the show, and then you had mentioned you were in Australia, and because we were talking a little bit about we are talking about the grand finale, and how it was interesting that you guys are making an American based film, but you're in Australia. So
Yeah.
my first question to you is, are you coming here to film, or are they going down there to film?
We're coming up there to film. Yeah. So we were able to do that back in 2022 as well. And we had an amazing experience shooting in the United States then. So we've been sort of trying to figure out a nice way to be able to get back and do it again. Yeah. So, yeah, we love shooting in the United States. So, yeah, we're really excited to join, and we have just a small amount of our Australian crew will join us too. So, yeah.
Will probably be your DP, I would think, right?
Yeah, our DP will be with us. We have our makeup artist who we work with every time. She'll be with us. Our soundies, Aussie. Yeah, so yeah, it's a pretty small Aussie crew, and then we're joining we've got some really talented American crew joining us as well.
Yeah, feet on the ground.
I think what was really exciting about this is, I was looking at the IMDb page. I was like, okay, so I want to know who was in the movie. So when I peeked over there and I saw the cast you guys had, I was pretty jacked up for it. I was like, man, this is pretty damn good.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Look, yeah.
Now, talking to me about the difficulties or the highlights of booking an Americans into an Australian movie. From Australia. How did you end up booking the people that you did?
Well, I mean, we've been pretty lucky in the sense that the last film we shot in 2022, there were sort of handful of actors that we worked with on that. I mean, we loved everyone we worked with. There were a handful we were like, we'd love to work with them again, and sort of figuring out ways to write films where they could play sort of bigger roles, specifically Ezra Buzzington and John Cantwell. We wanted to sort of do something that would, to sort of, we shot with those guys for like a day or two on American Masquerade, and we wanted to do something where we could shoot with them for a longer extended period. So it started with them, and it more or less, it was just a thing of, you have to sometimes take chances with this stuff of like, there's people that we really respect, and there's people like Galen Howard was an actor that we really appreciate, and we just thought, oh, we'll just try and see if he'll be interested, and he was. And it was a thing where the screenplay, which is written by myself and John Cantwell, we felt pretty confident that it was interesting, and we felt pretty good about the script. So we kind of felt like, well, just aim high. That was kind of the thing. It was just like, aim as high as we can.
Yeah.
Take the biggest swings we can and hope for the best.
Yeah. My mum used to always say, like, it doesn't hurt to ask. The only thing that can hurt really is like a no.
Yeah.
And in this industry, you get told no a lot. So I've kind of forgotten that you have to ask if you want something. And we try to ask very politely. And I guess like our sets, by virtue of us being Australian, our sets are a little bit different than I would say usual film sets. So I think that
intrigues
people a little bit more too, because we have a bit more of an experimental way of working.
Yeah.
And, we really trust the people that we work with. So it's a really kind of fun collaboration. And I think that intrigues people as well.
Yeah.
So why do an American cast and when you have Australians that are there, and you could use your Australian actors. What made you decide that you want to, to go through the United States?
I guess it's our big dream of making movies, American movies. Coming from Australia, I just feel like we're a bit tired of Australian projects for us, and we do still make Australian projects, but we also have really big interest in big cities. So we've made a feature film in Tokyo before, and New York has always been a really interesting place for us, like the Safdie brothers, for instance. That really draws me, is that New York as a city. How can we use that as a character? And that you can't recreate elsewhere. So we're coming to you.
and look, to be totally honest, I love Australian films, and I grew up loving Australian films, but the older I get and the more time that passes, there's sort of less interest in Australian genre films, even though it might seem like we're doing well at the moment with things like the Raka Raka Boys and all that stuff, which is great. And there's not to take anything. That stuff is great, but it's the outlier. It doesn't really, they are a very rare example of Australian filmmakers making genre films in Australia that
have support
and audiences actually want to get out of the way to see, because unfortunately the way it is at the moment, it's just Australian audiences just aren't really as interested in the type of movies that we want to make. Australian audiences want oranges and we're kind of bringing apples. So it's just felt more like lean into the place that sort of appreciates this a little more. And like Jazz was saying, the New York thing was huge for us as well. We grew up watching a lot of like slasher movies and giallo movies, and so many giallo movies will be set in New York, and it just felt like the right setting for the type of film we wanted to do.
I love Australian films. I'm a huge fan. There's a couple of movies. It's interesting because one movie reminds me a little bit about the grand finale, and one of my very favorite Australian films is Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Absolutely love that film. I love that film.
Well, that was the best era of, in my opinion, that era, and just maybe about 10 years before that was like the best era of Australian filmmaking. It was wild. We were making films that audiences all around the world wanted to see. It was that was an exciting time for Australian cinema. And we are, unfortunately, I mean, how old's that film now? We're probably 30 years or at least 20 years past the time where I feel like we were in our sort of golden patch of making films. But
that's a shame too, because I'm also thinking about Mystery Road and Red Hill. Two absolutely bangers of movies. I would match up those two against anybody brings my way. Those two were just amazing films. And,
absolutely.
Let me ask you this, because I'm thinking about this does happen, and we have talked about this with UK filmmakers, and do you feel like there is a glass ceiling in Australia? Like, it's like you can only go to a certain area, a certain height before you hit a glass ceiling, because all the good roles that are coming up, they always go to the same like 10 or 15 Australian actors. Jackman, Nicole Kidman, that type of deal. They always just go to like the same old faces, and it's hard to break in. Is that part of the reason why you decided to look toward the United States?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's a little, I don't want it to sound like sour grapes, but I'm happy that, I'm happy that people have the chances that they have. But I feel like, we've never had any kind of support in any way from our government, yet they still feel the need to use our films in their database as Australian created films, which I find like really hard to swallow.
Yeah, you also said, like, as you said, that, there's the same sort of say 10 or 15 actors. It's exactly the same for filmmakers.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of, even less, I would say. There's probably the same sort of 6 or 7 Australian filmmakers that keep getting development money from our government, because we go through a lot of Australian films are just financed via our government will finance a lot of the stuff. Finance some of the stuff, but
a portion of.
but it's the same. You see the same names coming up and over again. Development money that just keeps getting, people keep getting development money for movies that seemingly are never even going to get made, and it's just it just feels like ways for people to sort of pat each other on the back. There's a lot of that, I feel like, going on in Australia. Less actual films being made, and a lot of look at what we do, and it's sort of it's a bit of a peacocking environment.
Yeah.
So,
but if you look at tried and true, we've got films like Saw, we've got films like Wolf Creek. Every now and then Australia just goes offshore and produces, it's still heavily like an Australian film and that's kind of what we're doing too. Like, we are still Australian and nothing will take that away. Our view on, New York as a city, for instance, will be quite different, but it's the culture clash of the two that I find, that's the thing that we bring to make things a little bit different and a slightly different perspective on things. Yeah,
because we would hate to lose our Australian voices, within films made in other countries. And that is kind of the challenge is, we, like Jasmine said, we made a film in Tokyo, but I still think that there's an element of that. I mean, and this is a film almost entirely in Japanese language. I still think we approached it the same way we would approach any Australian script, or we don't change our filmmaking to match the place we are. We keep the way our eye works
and how we tell stories
and how we want to tell stories is still informed by Australian storytelling. Yeah. So
I think it's rather interesting, especially in this country now. I mean, it's before, we had the freedom to be, creative freedom to make a movie like the grand finale. But it does seem to be over here, like all those rights, and all the way of society's being told how to look at gay film and, and gay performers. It seems to me it's like as soon as it's like it's squeezing down. To me it'd be, before it wouldn't be a risk to make something like the grand finale. It'd be celebrated, but now it seems like man, I'm it's like I'm not so sure if I make a gay centric film that I'm going to get my money back. How am I going to do that? Is it a risk that I'm willing to gamble with? And so what made you decide to go ahead and bring it here? I mean, did any of that play to you, or did you not notice it from down there?
I wake up every day and I check the political climate. It's a bad habit I formed back when the pandemic happened, and my heart goes out to all of the American people currently. Well, there's a few places that need some thought.
But what I would definitely say is, like what you said, absolutely, it did inform us, and it's me and Jasmine both grew up like playing punk music when we were teenagers, and that sort of authoritarian kind of fuck you attitude never went away. So like when you say that, which is really interesting, that this is a riskier thing to do in today's climate, it's like that's for us becomes all the more reason to do it.
Yeah.
To do so, I want to lean into things that do make me uncomfortable, that do
make you talk about things.
Yeah. And especially we did want to do something that was an absolute celebration of LGBTQ.
Absolutely.
Honestly, if we go back to this, I really honestly, the first movie, I mean, one could have came out beforehand, but the one movie that just came out and celebrated the gay lifestyle and the ups and downs of it and the risk of it, because people are people, was Priscilla. I mean, everybody in the United States loved that movie. It seemed to open the door And then
Totally.
then they started doing movies with mainstream stars like Robin Williams did The Birdcage. Patrick Swayze did To Julie Newmar, Love Wong Fu. I think it's
Yeah.
total. I mean, all of a sudden, it became okay and accepted to do movies like that, and pretty soon people living their lives, look it up and say, "There's me. I'm on the camera. I'm on the big screen. This is who I am. This is how I can see myself to celebrate." And for many years, that's been even TV. We have all these different reality shows that are based on the lifestyle that and gays can celebrate, and it's awesome. And I mean, hell, without the gays, there would be no Bravo, right? It's like they have fought so hard for the equality.
Absolutely.
Now here it is. They fought so hard to get it. Now it seems to be like, man, I see people bringing out the hammers and chisels, and they're going to start chipping away at it. And to me, it'd be like the last thing that you would think that you want to do is because you want to make money. That's what you're making movies for. Sure, you're making it for the art, but you're also making it to get as many eyes as you can on it. And so you just want to be, like, okay, do I have a fighting chance here? I don't want to spend $1 million or $2 million on a movie that might not get any press. The TV shows might not really want to talk to my crew and my cast. It's like, I'm an indie film on top of that.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that that's something to be considered, but to be honest with you, I kind of feel like there's enough of a counterculture, I think, that kind of is screaming for a film like this. There can be there can be a horror film because that's the thing that I'm excited about the project, is that it's it's really crossing like, it's like a pride film mixed with a giallo slasher film. So it's kind of, I think it's offering for people who might not be so well equipped for the pride element of the movie. We're giving you a big sort of horror run through that should hopefully keep the film pretty entertaining regardless. But we did want to make something with an iconic gay lead, basically. Was kind of what was super important to us, was let's make a film in this political climate with a great sort of queer lead role, and fill the movie with kind of even on the crew side and in front of the camera, a bunch of kind of queer icons and punk rock icons and people like that we thought would be, would round it out in a really interesting way.
Yeah, I am all for creative freedom and no creative censorship, especially when it comes to filmmaking. As long as nobody's getting hurt, and I don't think anybody's getting hurt by some killer fashion and some hilarious characters. So it's like
but then again, you got half our country that fears. They fear it.
They can look away.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And I also think though, I also think one thing though that is worth mentioning as well is while the movie is shot, it will be shot in America with an American cast, a bunch of American crew. We are definitely making a film that we hope could play well in Europe, could play well in countries that maybe aren't so terrified of because Australia is the same. Australia is very much the same, and we would hear stories from our friends that were heartbreaking stuff to hear in our time. Like, a gay friend of ours told us that when he's out and about with his partner, that they just won't hold hands in Australia because they feel, uncomfortable doing that. And they feel like if they're,
they've been violently threatened before,
they've been
and
threatened
that's not
and things.
Okay.
And that was really, really upsetting to hear that in Australia, that's a thing. So, upsetting. Yeah.
Now I noticed that you did. I want to talk a little bit about American Masquerade now, because that's the movie that you did in America too, right? Is that the first film that you made over here?
It is. Yeah.
Okay. Again, I noticed that you got the John Ford vibe going on here too. Tom McLaughlin That's amazing. Are you talking about is that Tom from Friday the 13th?
Yeah, he's the director of Friday the 13th. Yeah,
he's lovely.
Very cool, very cool. I'm looking at this and I'm seeing again. I'm seeing you're bringing a lot of faces that you feel comfortable with, that you worked with in American Masquerade, and I see now you're bringing a lot of those same cast members to the grand finale. It's just the idea, how hard was it for you to assemble a cast? Did you assemble a cast here? I mean, when you came up here to do American Masquerade and you made friends with some of the actors and you admire their work and their professionalism, did you tell them right away that, listen, we're going to go back now. We're going to go ahead and finish, make our movie, and take it down there and finish it out. But when we get ready to come back to do another one, there'll be a part in there for you. Is that how you worked it? Because you wanted to feel familiar and comfortable with the same actors you worked with once before?
A little bit of both. Like, I feel like we definitely have that relationship and that comfort there, and we feel a bit more open to maybe try crazier things. And also, shooting film is hard work, so you want to make sure that you work well with people and you gel with people. But also, we want the best actors for those roles as well, and they are the best actors that we've worked with and we've had the chance to connect with. And American Masquerade, on a few levels, was talking about how hard it is to break into being an actor as well, and also this idea of representation on the screen. So we have our Australian actors brought over. We had a Japanese actor brought over and represented in the American landscape. And so this time it's a little bit different, but the landscape is a bit more tight just around New York City. And we're bringing in, again, a few of our favorite people that we know are going to bring really strong flavors and characters, and that we have that relationship where they can feel totally comfortable to let them do their job, if you will, and say those lines that we need them to say in such a way.
And I guess it was a little tricky on American Masquerade, because lots of people sort of talk the talk, but you need to be able to prove it. But we were fortunately, when we made American Masquerade, we were coming at that, American Masquerade was like our 6th or 7th film. So we did have some things to show people in terms of, what we want to do and what we're capable of doing. So
hold on 1 second here. Sure. My phone went goofy.
It's the type of thing that would happen to me. What is doing? I'll comment.
I don't know if anyone can hear us.
Can you hear us? Okay, we've got some comments here. We can keep talking. Here we go.
Good old stream. It happens like once a week. I'll be here, and next thing you know, my phone will just, because I keep it charging while I'm talking, doing the show. But it'll just go goofy on me. It's possessed. I'm just impressed with the fact that and Leslie Iverson here, an actress, and said, "Let me know when you're casting again. I will have to pass on your information."
Definitely,
I will definitely do that.
What area is Leslie in? Because we still have some roles. So if you're in New York, hit us up. We've got some roles available. We're still casting.
Looks like they're still casting, Leslie. Where are you based at now? I want to say.
Chicago.
That's not that far. That's not that far apart.
Yeah, if you want to come to New York and do something in our film, let us know.
Oh wow, yeah. And see, and she would go to LA, New York. So yes.
Yeah, hit us up, Leslie. We still have roles, so we're still casting. Please send us a message on. Patrick will pass on our info, and I
will. Yes, I will. I'll do that as soon as the show's over with. I will connect you guys up, and hopefully, you guys can get together and work together. That's always fun to do. I've had that. I've done that a couple of times where I've actually suggested one person to a director, and it's happened. And it's pretty cool. It's cool, but at the same time I'm doing it. At the same time, going like, man, I'm stepping way over the line in doing it, because it's like I'm not a casting director. I'm a podcaster. That's not really my, I don't really feel my, my strength. But and plus you don't want to sit there and like, I really like that person. I can recommend them, and maybe they're just not ready yet. You got to be on the outside looking in. There's a reason why you're outside looking in. But I will vouch for Leslie though.
Yeah.
Right after what I just said, I will go ahead and vouch for her. Hi, Jory. How are you? Glad you're here. Yes, you are new to us, so glad you're here. We are talking to filmmakers Addison Heath and Jasmine. Is it Jakupi?
Jakupi, but I'm not fast. Anything will do.
And they run and operate Black Forest Studios in Australia. Now, let's talk a little bit about your earlier days. So, I want to know how each one of your journeys, and how did you two end up meeting? How old were you guys meeting? Did you guys meet young, like in high school or college, university?
Yeah, just after.
Pretty much just out of high school. So I was 21,
and I was 18.
18,
I think.
Yeah. So really young, but we like I said, we were playing in punk bands a lot when we were younger, and we really started making films when I started writing scripts, and I got a script to someone, and then eventually that turned into, I made a movie with an Aussie crew called Chocolate Strawberry Vanilla, and that was
that movie.
I wrote that film. Yeah.
Wow, why didn't I catch that? That is an awesome movie.
Awesome. Thank
Addison
you.
Just wrote it.
That was my first film that I wrote.
That is an amazing movie. We talk about that. We talk about that movie a lot over here.
Amazing. I'll make sure to tell Glenn that as well. Glenn, who plays the lead in that, he'd love to.
Right. Oh, he's awesome.
A funny guy. If you ever want to chat to someone, chat to him. He's a strange dude. He's cool. He's a good dude.
Well, I was a little bit bummed at it because I'm sitting here watching it, but then he killed his cat, and I'm going like, well, wait a minute, what's up with that? I'm not really so sure. I like that part about this, but no, honestly, that Chocolate Vanilla Strawberry, that's a great movie.
Awesome. No, I appreciate that. So that was the first thing that I did, and then me and Jasmine kind of went out on our own, and we started making films. Just cutting our teeth on really low budget stuff.
Shooting out of our apartment.
Yeah,
on the weekends.
Yeah, it started, like I think it starts that way for a lot of people. It was similar, and we just kept trying to sort of just kept trying to just have bigger ideas, So the first sort of big thing we wanted to do was go shoot in Tokyo. We thought, that would be a challenge to not only like shoot in another country, but shoot in another language. That's going to be a challenge, So we always we like to sort of, we want to challenge ourselves and keep that going. But so we met, and we've, ever since the start, we've been working together. So, even on Chocolate Strawberry Vanilla, like Jasmine helped with some of the just like creating some props content and stuff like that.
Where did you get the idea for Strawberry Chocolate Vanilla?
It was kind of a thing. Well, I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty obsessed with Taxi Driver for a long time, and It was a movie that really spoke to me in a pretty big way. And I liked that it was a very flawed character that we're forced to go with. And I'd been writing screenplays and contacting producers and trying to get things read and looked at. And so often that was the note that kept coming back, was people saying things like, yeah, but, this character does pretty horrible things. And, you should always write a film with a likable lead. And I just didn't, I didn't really, that that part didn't connect with me. I felt like that is not like the films I love from the 1970s would have really flawed characters. Now, in saying that, I think Warren, the character in Chocolate Strawberry Vanilla, is a sympathetic character. It is a likable character, but he makes pretty rough decisions. And we wanted to do a film that would be, we would have no scrutiny from, people telling us script notes and things like that. We wanted to be able to just make the film we wanted to make. So
when you make these movies like this, did you get help for the government? Did you get funding for the government?
No. It was completely made out of pocket, that film. And we made it. We shot that film in 2012, and it was. It was those guys. I wasn't there for a lot of the shooting. I was there for some of it.
It was in our house.
But yeah, I mean, they were, we were literally living in the house that Warren lives in. Like, that was made as low budget as you can go. So, I'm
thinking about the movie Talk to Me, and Get Her Back. I'm thinking about going like, man. I mean, everybody's talking about those movies and raving about them, and I'm going like, man. Again, it's like one of those things where it's like, do you really like Talk to Me? Well, hold my beer. Let me show you something, equally of a banger of a movie. Let me go get Chocolate Strawberry Vanilla, because believe me, that movie deserved a lot. It deserves high praise.
I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
That's lovely to hear.
Yeah, that is lovely to hear, because I mean, that was another one where we were, we're really proud of the film. And we felt like, as much as that's probably, out of all the stuff I've done, it's probably the thing that I would is probably the most recognizable thing that I've been involved with. It was a film that we wish had have been able to just cross some more borders and go into, because we felt like Glenn Maynard's performance in it was really special. And we felt like this is, even that alone is something that I really wanted people to see, because I feel like he delivered something that was like
really special,
far beyond a lot of indie films, in my opinion. So,
that's man. I'm really, I'm very happy knowing this. This is fun. I just really, I think I have my review. I'll have to send it to you.
I think I may have actually. I'm one of those guys that can't help but Google their own films, so I have most likely seen the review. But please do send it to me, because we were lucky. It's a small audience. It's a niche sort of audience for the film, but we did have quite a lot of people enjoy that one. So I'm really proud of where that all went. It's really interesting too. You come from a punk music background, so I like that too. I don't play, but I was a talent buyer, so I'm hearing you saying you play punk. I'm sort of wondering, like, well, what punk bands did you guys like when you're down in Australia? Oh, growing up, I mean, I completely loved and worshipped At the Drive-In.
I love them.
That was a huge thing for me growing up. That was came out right at the right age for me too, where a lot of the stuff that I had heard before that, pretty mainstream sort of stuff, and then you hear At the Drive-In, and it just didn't sound like anything I'd ever heard at that point. So that kind of opened up the world of punk music in a sort of bigger way for me, and as someone that kind of knew sort of fairly poppy punk, to hear some of that more sort of hardcore or post-hardcore music, it was so special. And At the Drive-In I loved, and then I loved the band they did after that, the Mars Volta.
Right.
I have to say also, like, Ramones I can listen to 24/7.
There's a New Zealand band called the Mint Chicks that
They're
were
awesome.
Pretty important at the time when they came out for me as well. I remember being in high school, and a friend gave me a 2-disc. She worked for their street team. She gave me a 2-disc thing, and I remember popping that in and just being like, this is the greatest, and followed them for a long time. And they actually had a bit of success in the United States. And now one of the guys in that band, the Mint Chicks, is in a band that's doing really well called, Unknown Mortal Orchestra or something.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah, and they're really cool too. So, I mean, look, obviously there's bands like the Pixies. We love them. Jazz said the Ramones. We love Rollins and Black Flag. Fugazi, huge for me. Fugazi are a big thing. Refused. A lot of that sort of stuff. Yeah.
I got to do shows with a lot of those bands you just mentioned, including Fugazi. Yeah, I got to book them, and that was a lot of fun. They're great bands.
Fugazi are the greatest. Yeah,
Fugazi is pretty amazing. I had a friend of me mentioned New Zealand. I had a friend of mine named Barbara Manning. She actually went down and lived in New Zealand for a few years, and she made some great music down in New Zealand. So that's cool as hell. So
New Zealand.
Are you a musician yourself, a vocalist?
I used to play drums when I was in a punk band. So I also had like same musical influences as Addison, but nowadays I listen to harps. Like I've totally done a 180. So I still have moments where I'm angry, where At the Drive-In is like on point. But I am obsessed with an artist called Mary Lattimore. And she just plays really beautiful ephemeral kind of music on harps. And that's kind of my jam at the moment. And it has been probably another band I've listened to for like 20 years on repeat is Modest Mouse is another big one of mine. So literally for about 20 strong years.
Yeah, we definitely like a lot of guitar rock as well, and guitar sort of forward stuff. Yeah, I play guitar, Jasmine drums, but she also plays keyboards. We just started playing in a, actually you brought up about the political climate we're in, and it kind of we haven't played in a band for 15 plus years. And we just started a hardcore band with our friends again, just because we want to get on stage and scream about stuff.
We need to scream and get it off our chest. I don't know. I just feel like I really think Rage Against the Machine are super duper important. And in today's climate, we need more of that. We need more people screaming because we're screaming into the void currently, but we need people to be screaming in unison for it to mean anything.
It's just interesting to me that like some of the most like political artists these days are like pop artists, which is just backwards. It's like
and they're all, and if you really think about it, the ones that are out there talking about it, they're not young. They're all old. All the young artists, they're not saying shit.
They're scared.
They're silent. Yeah, they're scared. They're scared of being canceled.
I hate that. It's like I used to be able to say your opinion, especially if it's like politically charged. I don't know.
Well, look, I don't want to take any political stances, but all I will say is that other side is pretty loud. So maybe it's time that we from this side got a little loud too.
I'm with you. I'll be happy to stand with you about that. So you guys met at 21 and 18. So obviously you had a love of music. When did you guys discover you had a love of film? Were you both wanting to make films as you were, getting older? Was this, or did that come to fruition after you guys met and or playing in bands?
Well, I wanted to make films since I was a little kid. So like I wanted to make from very like crazy young. I wanted to be a filmmaker. And I had. My brother plays guitar, so I kind of inherited some of that. So that was just an easy thing. That was just like a much easier way to express yourself when you're young. It took a little while to sort of learn, editing and things like some of that stuff takes a little longer. So that was always the plan for me. But for Jasmine, I mean, when I first met her, she was definitely like sort of heading more into the sort of art world a bit with
like my background's a bit weird. My dad was in like to TV repairs, so we always had VHS cameras around, editing equipment and things like that, but I never got like taught how to use it. To me it was like a toy and I would just like play with them. And like same with musical instruments. I got given a guitar at the age of 3, but no one in my family ever played music or knew anything about music or did any lessons about music. So it was just like, here's a thing, figure it out. And I kind of like that. It makes a lot of sense now looking back on it. That's how I kind of like to operate. I like to work out what the boundaries are. I don't like being told like, this is step one, this is step two. I'm like, well, how do you know the potential of something if you don't test it?
Do you think that that's where your director brain kind of came from?
I also studied design, which is where I started to kind of form the visual language and like how people read things. And then I think it transposed more into film specific because you gave me the more direction of being influenced by that's the medium that incorporates all of these other mediums that I was interested in and dabbled in, but it was a way to like merge it all together into like a whole form.
We also discovered a lot of foreign film together. So like the whole South Korean boom, we discovered that stuff together. Yeah. We discovered a lot of Japanese filmmakers together. So a lot of that really formative stuff that I felt like it was formative to me as wanting to be a filmmaker was just as formative to Jasmine. Yeah. So, when I can't lie. The first time we sat together and watched the film Old Boy, our brains fucking exploded. Yeah. I just felt like, oh my God, I've never seen... it just felt like finding something that was like, and this was before, this was we watched Old Boy before it was Old Boy, before it was this film that is so loved and respected. Same with Memories of Murder was a film we saw really early, like the Bong Joon-ho stuff. Like we would, I don't want to be that, that guy. It's like, I knew him before he was famous, but it's like, when
like with Chocolate, Strawberry, Vanilla.
Yeah, exactly. But like Bong Joon-ho, when he won the Academy Award for Parasite, it was no surprise to me and Jasmine. We were like, well, this guy's been amazing. He's been making amazing films for 20 years. It's no shock that he made a movie that crossed over.
He actually had a chance to win. He got nominated.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And also it challenged people at the time because they were like, I can't possibly read subtitles. And like, guess what? You can.
And it opens up the world of films, certainly did to us. Like we found a lot of that South Korean and Japanese stuff around that time, but then we also started European. Yeah, European. And definitely like British cinema became a big thing for us. We realized that, because that's the thing that's really interesting about being Australian and talking to people from other countries. A lot of people tend to think that Australians and British people are really similar when we are so different. Like Australians are closer in tone to Americans than we are to British. So when I watch a British film, that feels super foreign to me. Like there's things culturally that feel way more foreign than stuff I'm seeing come out of the States. So that was interesting as well, as to sort of discover British cinema as well, and things like Ken Loach and Shane Meadows and people like that. Like finding those sorts of films was pretty important. Like actually, the film Dead Man's Shoes was a huge influence on Chocolate, Strawberry, Vanilla, because that looked like a group of mates getting together and making a film, and it moves you to tears. That was a film that moved me to tears, and I was like, this film looks like it costs $2. Now their film costs a lot more than ours, but it gave you that indication that you can go out with a camera and good actors and you can actually make something interesting with nothing.
I'll ask you a question here. So who do you think is the best current Australian film director?
That's an easy answer for me. And the guy hasn't made a film in a little while, but Brian Trenchard Smith is the GOAT and is the greatest of all time. He's just an amazing person and filmmaker, and what he did in the golden era of Australian film cannot be undermined. What he did was so important. He's the only Australian filmmaker who looked at things with huge scope at the time. There's lots of great filmmakers now. I do think Andrew Dominic is a brilliant Australian filmmaker who made Chopper.
And Blonde.
No
one talks about that film.
Which was great. So there's a lot of Aussie, but Brian Trenchard Smith is the GOAT for Australian films. Jennifer Kent's great.
You did it. Yeah, that's what I was waiting for.
No, she's brilliant. We love her.
I love it too.
Yeah,
I think
I was a little bit
Nightingale is a freaking brilliant film.
Which film? Sorry,
Nightingale. The Nightingale.
See, I'm on the opposite side of that one, but I love the Babadook.
I'm also in agreement with Addison.
Everybody likes the Babadook, man, but then that kid starts screaming, and that's what everybody says. Oh man, I just check out of it because that kid's screaming. But the Nightingale was just absolutely stone cold beautiful. It's rough, but it's a beautiful film. I love her.
Yeah,
our history was rough.
Very tough watch. You know, and actually, have you ever seen a film called The Proposition by John Hillcoat?
About the Kelly boys, right?
Well, no. It's I know I like the film you're talking about, but The Proposition, it's set around that time. That's a brilliant another film that harsh, stark Australian film written by Nick Cave and directed by John Hillcoat. Really worth your time if you haven't seen that. I'll send you a rec for that one because it's really good. And if you like The Nightingale, I personally think The Proposition was the better version of that, of a similar kind of vibe. And yeah, just both very bleak though. Tough movies to watch. Yeah.
Now everybody's probably sitting here. They're probably sitting here going like, I wonder if they're going to mention, the most famous Australian film that they know of. And the chances are we're probably not going to talk about it because I have a feeling I know which movie it is. I said Priscilla was probably the door opener, but when it comes down to Australian film hitting becoming worldwide, that would be Paul Hogan, right?
Yeah, Crocodile Dundee was huge. Yeah. Wait, I don't know about how much this movie hit it overseas.
It's huge in Australia.
But Wake in Fright is a big important film too.
Yeah.
Which is actually made by a Canadian, made by Ted Kotcheff. So but what was so special about that film and why that film actually resonates, I think, a lot with me and Jasmine, was that it kind of felt like it took a foreign filmmaker to come to Australia to go, this is what's interesting about you. You know what I mean? Like we were making these kind of hooty-tooty, arty kind of dramas. And it took like a Canadian filmmaker to be like, no, you guys are weird and you should lean into your weirdness. And Wake in Fright, it's an absolute masterpiece. And really there's a huge argument to be made that it could be the best film made in this country. I don't think it is. I think it's a very good film. I like, I think 10 Canoes is a more important film. There's other Aussie films that I think are stronger. Chopper's probably my favorite Australian film.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'll go with Mystery Road for me. That was my favorite. And
it's a fantastic film. Yeah, it's a fantastic.
Mystery Road are my two favorites for sure. Now, when you guys sit down for the first time, you say, hey, Jasmine, let's make a movie. All right, let's do that, Addison. So what was the first movie that you guys decided to, figure out on? Did you write the movie together or did you get somebody, did you write the script or did you, for your first film, or did you get a script from somebody else? How did you assemble your team to film it? I mean, walk us through.
I always write the stuff because I feel like I got to see what it was like being a writer, handballing your script off to a director, and things get changed. I didn't want to do that to another writer. I just felt like I don't want to be a part of that. That was there were times where, and I'm really proud of Chocolate Strawberry Vanilla, but certain things get changed and it bums you out. And I just didn't want to do that to another writer. I just felt like if I write it, then it's up to, if I want to rip pages out of it, I can rip pages out of it. And that's on me to do that. I'm not hurting anybody by doing that. Yeah. Which I know is all, that's part of the job, but I just don't want to do that to a writer. So, so I wrote it, and it was a thing of me and Jasmine had an apartment that we knew we could film in for as long as we need to, so we wouldn't lose the location. And there were things like that. So it was really written to be something that we knew we could.
It was manageable for the first project.
Yeah.
But then I think after that, we kept putting new constraints on, like to challenge ourselves. Like we shot one feature film in 5 days and it was all improvised.
Yeah.
And then, shooting a film in a foreign country in a foreign language, and then filming in a different country again with across 3 states. So we always like to, challenge ourselves, but we live together. We spend almost every second of every day together. And we're constantly throwing ideas back and forth, like, what about this? Or imagine this. And so there comes to a point where you start to like attach ideas together and forming it into something.
And as I said, like, even though I said like I write it, it is a lot of the time it'll start from throwing ideas back and forth with Jasmine.
I'll edit it.
There's another creative that we work with who's my cousin, who is another guy, Addison Heath, who acts. He's the lead actor in American Masquerade. He's another guy that I just bounce ideas off. And kind of our DOP Caston as well is another. Like, they're kind of the core of Black Forest Films at the moment, is sort of us 4. So yeah, it's a lot of throwing ideas back and forth. This one grand finale started as we knew we wanted to do something with Love Connie. We thought that would be really funny and really fun because it was so much fun working with Love Connie. And then, started as a thing where it's like, oh, could we do something, could we do something in New York with them? Yeah.
Love Connie, that's actually John, the actor is John, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's I saw that. I'm going like, oh, I saw that, and the thing is, so I'm hearing one thing you did say, and I was caught me by a little bit of surprise, because the synopsis for grand finale, it says comedy, but I'm hearing you say that it's going to be a part of like a giallo as well, and that's just like, I don't know. I've never seen a giallo mixed with a comedy before. So is it more played for laughs, or is this going to be? I mean, I know you said like she's LC is going to be working to her finale, but that could be interpreted in several different ways.
And it's supposed to be interpreted. What you've nailed it there. It's supposed to be like that. I guess when it comes to like the horror comedy stuff, we look to the things that the 2 films I definitely look straight towards as like the benchmark for horror comedy, in my opinion, are Evil Dead 2 and Shaun of the Dead. And why I think both of those films work so well is that the horror is horrific and the comedy is funny. And they can be both. And we wanted to make a movie where it can be both. So there'll be times in grand finale that are horrific turned up to 11. It's going to be super violent. It's going to have that stuff won't be funny. That's a real delicate line for me. As far as people say horror comedy, I like my horror. I want to be like, I want it to be, thinking about what I'm seeing on the screen. I don't want to, that's just me, of course. I don't want to sit there and have someone do a joke or really, because to me, it takes me out of it. It takes me out of the movie. I love the idea of giallo. That means it's a mystery. I got to pay super close attention to what's happening on the screen. But I don't need someone to come around the corner, cracking jokes at the same time. Yeah. Well, that's what I would say as well, is that it's when we write comedy, it's not so much like, joke punchline comedy. It's more kind of situational
and between people.
It's humorous. I think so. I think and this was definitely a thing that was interesting going back to Chocolate Strawberry Vanilla, was in Australia, Chocolate Strawberry Vanilla does kind of half play as a comedy. And in a lot of other countries, they were like,
"You're right." Because in the beginning of the movie, it is a comedy. It is a dark comedy. The first, but about halfway through it, though, it drops that trailer, and from then on, it's a straight horror film. After that,
well, our film American Masquerade is pretty similar in the sense that there's comedy to a point.
It's funny until it's not.
It's funny till it's not funny anymore, and I feel like that's sort of our style a little bit, is to make things where I think
that takes a lot of skill, Addison. I mean, it takes a lot of skill. So my hat's off to you for doing it, because
I
already know you can, because I know you can do it, because because it's a hard. There's a lot of writers out there that try to do that, and they always trip over themselves, because it's like they either try to be too funny, too cute, or they try to do too much gore. and it's or not enough gore. You know, people are just like, okay, well, this is not scary, and then maybe we'll get scary later on, but and it still doesn't get scary. And I think a lot of times a movie will lose somebody from that. But sometimes, though, like you said, like the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes of a movie, it's sort of a disarming tactic. Try to bringing your audience inside, get them feel comfortable. And then once you got them in there, and then you just drop the hammer on them, like, bam! It's like, oh wow, where am I at again?
Yeah.
So you shot a short film first as a director, Brethren. So so now everybody starts off somewhere, right? And so I take it Brethren was filmed on the seat of your pants, right? This is your first time that you right.
We had shot it like I think it was like in between our first and second feature, and it was for thing.
No, we didn't.
Brethren, no, that was
Brethren was way early. Yeah. No, it was a tiny, like, no crew sort of just shooting with friends. Glenn's in it though. The guy from Chocolate Strawberry Vanilla is in it. So I've been working with him for a while, and Dylan is also in it. Yeah, it was just an exercise in we were making it for.
You just wanted to make sure that you could do it. And then afterwards, how many films did you get underneath your belt before you and Jasmine decide, hey, you know what? Let's make a studio. Let's make a studio. Let's bring some people on board that will be there for us for anytime we do a shoot. Let's develop some department heads. Let's develop some, let's get a good.
It's a pretty small operation still, so it's pretty small.
But again, it's just by virtue of making things that we've again built those relationships with people, and forged like pretty strong bonds. Like, we made a film with our tiny crew. I think we had 11 people in our whole crew, and we had our due to the pandemic, we were shooting in a bubble, so we had our own environment that we weren't allowed to leave for 11 days, and we were all shooting at this old haunted hospital, and everyone had their own office in like a little working part, and that brought us together very well because we had no one else to latch onto for any kind of support. And also when you're sharing like tight quarters with people, you tend to become friends pretty quickly. But fostering those relationships, like we wouldn't have even been able to do that if we weren't making projects and making things happen. And I think if we had have waited until someone gave us a green light, like where do you even start? If you've got no connections, where do you start? So I thought the best place to start was just by making, and by virtue of doing that, the snowball effect happens.
And we kind of, on that film that Jasmine's talking about as well, we kind of did sort of experiment a little bit with that, like just giallo style of like lighting and shooting. So it was kind of like, things that are successful in the indie stuff you do, you kind of try to carry any of that stuff over. If you can do that, you can do it, with a bit of experience, you can do it better the next time. So that was
what was it? What's it like to raise money in Australia for indie projects? I mean, you can go to your friends, but you can only go to them once in a while, or family, So what's it like? I mean, you mentioned before how it's out of pocket. You're paying for everything. But has there been a time where you set up a crowdsourcing or asked for government help?
We just did for grand finale. We just did an Indiegogo, which was great. I mean, we didn't hit our target, but we got a great amount that's going to be really helpful to us towards the film. Look, I'll be honest with you. I was like, there's friends that we have that are amazing that did help us. But no, Australia doesn't seem to care about what we want to do too much, to be honest.
I know times are really tough for people at the moment. So it's like really hard to be like, hey, this fun art thing. And they're like, well, I'm worried about having a roof over my head.
Which is totally understandable.
I get it.
Yeah. I mean, look, if I'm being totally honest, we've definitely had more support and interest from America than we have in Australia. So we're kind of, that's a nice thing. That's a good thing. But yeah, it becomes pretty clear when it's that we should be maybe not as concerned with shooting movies in Australia anymore, because
I really like your casting choices too. I was looking at American Masquerade, and I'm just like, I peeked on that to see the cast on that as well, and I'm going like, before you got on here, I was going over it, and I'm realizing that, like, gosh, I know a lot of these people. They've you know, they've been on this show.
Yeah, it's a very
for sure. Yeah,
small
that's
horror
it.
world, isn't
that's
it?
That's it.
Yeah.
No, I thought that would be the case, because there's a few people in our film that you know, yeah, people that have done a bunch of great indie stuff in the States. So yeah, I thought that might be the case. Yeah.
Yeah, you got some, like, I know Trent Haga. I know he's a director.
Yep.
You got Jessica Cameron. Jessica Cameron she's really sweet.
She's amazing. Yeah, we love
would
her.
actually be a great studio head. She's got a head for business.
Yeah, she's tough. She's tough as No, we she was somebody that we met years ago because of Chocolate Strawberry Vanilla. So that came from a thing years ago where she was at a festival here in Melbourne, and our film Chocolate Strawberry Vanilla played at the same festival. And I met her one night, and she was super cool. And I was like, I remember feeling like, if we're ever in her side of the world or she's here, she would be fun to get in a movie, because she's really, really good. And then we lucked out, you know, because I just stayed in touch with her. I mean, not really, but just friends on Facebook. And then it came to time finally making something. I thought, let's see if
you might be keen.
Let's see if we can get Jess. And she was so great. She showed up on set and just charmed everybody. So we all really like her. Yeah, I
really like her a lot too. I think she's very.
And Trent is a guy that's been a friend of ours since 2017. We met him in Tokyo. Which was a weird thing, and we've been friends with him ever since. And he's been, in a lot of ways, he was one of the first people in the industry to ever really take notice of us or help us or be interested, and
just general support, and
mentorship. And we absolutely love his films, what he works on. So he's
really strong. He did Rootwood. that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Okay. We had, that was a lot of fun too. Good cast. Had Alyssa in the movie, and on Sarah French and Tyler Gallant. All three very strong. All three very strong actors. So with now, when is the shooting date? Where do you plan on coming up to New York to shoot the grand finale? I mean, what's the plan?
Later in the year. We're hoping to, before the Christmas period, come on down.
We are.
In November.
So. We arrive in LA towards the end of October. We're going to go and do Halloween Horror Nights, which we've never done before, and we're like, the horror nerd in us is pretty excited about that. And then we're going to go from LA. We're going to fly over to New York. It'll probably be about 17 days of shooting there, and we're shooting a little bit in LA as well. So we expect it to be probably about an 19 day shoot, which for us is a little bit of extra time that we're quite used to shooting stuff in
11 days.
12 days is normally the sweet spot. American Masquerade took considerably longer, but like Jazz said, that travels over 3 states. Like, we really did shoot American Masquerade in Portland, Oregon, to Las Vegas, to LA. There was no cheating in that. We literally traveled in our cars, drove, and that road trip, we did the road trip as the actors,
as a crew,
as the characters do the road trip. So it was so that was a huge undertaking. This one, fortunately, we just get to hang out in New York City and make it. So we don't have to run around too much.
Just across the whole city.
Just across that whole city. So.
It'll be interesting to see if hopefully you can get in. Hopefully you can get in, and during late summer, early fall, before the winter comes.
I don't know. We'll probably get the beginning parts of.
It'll definitely be crisp.
Yeah, it'll be frosty.
Yeah, but we shot in Tokyo in the middle of winter.
Snow, so it's okay.
So we actually, part of that film is shot on a snowy mountain.
My tripod froze. Our boom pole froze.
Yeah,
wow.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
Well, it's winter now. Is it winter down there right now? Isn't it?
In Australia, yeah, it is, and it's freezing. You know, like it might look. It's quite sunny today, but the last month has been like freezing cold.
It doesn't snow where we are, so it's just bitterly cold.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be about the real feel of things in the morning is about 2 degrees Celsius, which is just above freezing. So yeah, everything is like bitterly cold. The sun will come out during the day, but as soon as the sun is gone, back to bitterly cold.
Yeah. Melbourne, the city that we're in, we're right at the bottom of the East Coast, and Melbourne is the coolest city in Australia for sure, but it's the weather-wise, we are the most inconsistent. You know, our place is like Portland, Oregon. You know, when it's not raining, it's cloudy or sunny or all in a day. You know, it kind of
wait 10 minutes and it will change.
Yeah, that's sort of the joke in Melbourne is, you know, the weather's not very good. We'll wait 10 minutes. You know, because
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, if you could remake one Australian director's movie, I mean, each of you can answer this because I'm sure you have different answers.
Yeah.
If you could remake one Australian film, put your own stamp on it, what Australian film would you remake and why?
I know.
Yeah, look, my answer is I would do BMX Bandits.
I knew you were going to say that. That's my answer too.
I would do BMX Bandits. I think that's an amazing film. I don't think it needs a remake. It's not like I think I could do anything better than what Brian did. It's just, I think it's an amazing story, and I'd love to do something that puts more eyes on BMX Bandits. And especially with the world that we're living in now, like, you never see kids on bikes anymore.
No.
Like in Australia, kids are indoors playing PlayStation. They're not on a BMX. And I'd love to do something that kind of reminds me of my own childhood, which was riding around on bikes.
Rollerblading movies.
Yeah, stuff like that. You know, so BMX Bandits is probably the film I would consider.
Yeah.
Okay, how about you, Jasmine? What movie would you remake if you could?
You can't take my answer.
I know, but just because you said it first.
Yeah.
I was going to also say BMX Bandits, but now I have to like go back and rethink things. So this is where it gets really, really tricky.
I got one too, an Australian film I would love to see remade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till after you finish yours.
I was going to say it's another movie that is a classic again, around the same era, but again, doesn't probably need a remake, but you could do something slightly, you know, a bit more modern with it. Would be Stone. So that's like a motorcycle kind of movie from the 70s. Yeah.
Like a police officer sort of infiltrates a motorbike gang that are sort of being picked off by an unknown killer. It's a movie that you could, you know, again, really doesn't need a remake. It's an amazing film on its own. That original film, Stone, is a brilliant movie. But it would be fun to play in that world. You know, biker movie would be fun. And yeah, I get where you're coming from there.
Yeah.
The one Australian movie I would love to see remade would be Lake Mungo.
Oh, that's an amazing film.
I'm surprised you know about it. I love that film.
Yeah, that's an amazing film. I think that might be the scariest. That could be the scariest movie.
That last
one. That's, you know what's scary? I tell you what's scary. It was scary is no. I finally went and saw that movie because people say you gotta watch it. Well, I watched it. Little blink of a figure, and I'm like, okay, now what? Oh, there's another movie like that too here, and it kills me. But the movie called Pyewacket, and
I like that film. Yeah,
I liked it too. I thought the acting was awesome, but they didn't show the damn witch. They showed her like in a faraway picture, like she's this big, she's far away, and that's all you see. Other than shadow, and it's just like the same thing with Lake Mungo. You see that one little shot of that of the ghost, and that's it. That's all it is. It's like, how the hell? I was like, I told my cat to wake me up when it was over. I just couldn't do it. I
It's a slow burn film for sure. Yeah.
I don't even know if it would even get enough heat to burn. I was just like, I was just shocked by it, about that. And I'm going like, oh, let me tell you, if I had to go on a desert island and I had a choice between Lake Mungo and chocolate strawberry vanilla, you already know who's winning that battle, right?
I appreciate that. I'll tell you what, hey, I feel the same. If I was on an island, I want chocolate strawberry vanilla too. So I agree.
I know BMX Bandits is still very popular over here, by the way.
I love it.
That's so good.
That's the one. That was Nicole Kidman's first movie, right?
I believe it was her first film. Yeah,
and she jumps her bike over a cop car.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so great.
I didn't even know that until recently when they were talking about it one day and they were saying, "Yeah, it was like Nicole Kidman's first movie." I'm going like, "It was." I thought the movie she did it with Billy Zane and Sam Neill.
Dead Calm.
I thought that was Dead Calm. I thought that was her first film.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was probably the film that like launched her into the stratosphere. I don't know. I mean, BMX Bandits was huge in Australia. I don't know what it was like in the States. I mean, I'm sure it did well because I know Brian. I've spoke like me and Jasmine have been fortunate enough to like have a bit of a friendship with Brian, who made that for Brian Trenchard Smith. And he's very open about talking about that stuff. And he's been an amazing mentor for me and Jasmine. Can't recommend him enough. Do you
send him you send him your complete films? And
absolutely. Yeah. And the best thing about Brian is that he won't hold back. If he doesn't like something, he will tell me he doesn't like it. And I need that. You know that if somebody's doing that, it's coming from the heart. It's not coming from, and that means a lot that he is honest and open with us. And even if I don't agree with the note he's giving me or whatever it is, it's
something to consider.
It's always something to consider. It actually notes that he gave us for American Masquerade, I think made it a considerably stronger movie. So he was very helpful. And I'm sure he will do a similar thing for grand finale, where he'll get to see a cut of that early to give us notes about what we can do to strengthen the film. Because Brian, he is a filmmaker that definitely knows where to edit and where to make choices that will be commercially a good idea. Brian was able to have a career for so long because of that eye that he has. So we take his notes and what he says very seriously. Yeah.
Does it bother you that Australia, that you mentioned a few times about how the film, the audience, it really doesn't seem that much of an audience? Do you think part of that too is because the audience basically has had their choices taken away? Like, before if you wanted to go get a copy of BMX Bandits, you could go buy it at your local store. You didn't have to depend on getting a streaming service to see it. You could go pick up a DVD or a Blu-ray of it. But now it's, we've heard more and more that they don't even service Australia anymore. Disney doesn't anyway.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you guys physical media fans? And do you think the lack of physical media hurts filmmakers?
100%.
Absolutely.
100% it does.
I'm terrified of lost media. What happens when streaming goes?
The bottom line is as well, and these streaming services can say the numbers are whatever they are. Streaming services are not paying the same amount of money as physical media companies do. And also, they're just not. So, that's why Netflix could have this huge catalog, because they underpay everybody. And it's like, and it is what it is. And it's nice to get your film released into certain platforms, but like, if I'm being totally honest, when it comes to streaming platforms, like Tubi is the winner for me. Yeah. And that's free, and
it pays its filmmaking.
Yeah. We've actually seen some revenue come out of Tubi, which is like shocking to me. It's a huge bum out that we can't go into, DVD stores anymore in Australia and just pick up anything you want. It's honestly devastating.
And
so,
actually, I believe it comes down to even manufacturing level. So it's almost like every stage of distribution is somehow broken down.
Mm-hmm.
So the filmmaker can make a product, but then there's a sales agent that needs to sell it. So that's kind of fallen the way through, which has turned into just distributors managing their own kind of work. But they're also struggling too, because they're stuck between trying to fight like cinema attendance and the costs of that versus physical media and the costs of that with manufacturing. Most of the places that make these things are also shut down now. On top of that, tariffs. And then you've got the last layer, which is streaming services, who now kind of monopolize all of that previous process because they're, at the end of the day, most popular currently. But as I said before, I'm terrified of lost media. There were already, when DVDs were a thing, there was like a loss of films from VHS to DVD.
Yep.
And then there's, again, going to be a loss of films that are going to go missing between streaming to whatever is next. And we don't know what the future looks like now, but it is a bit worrying. And every one of our favorite films we own a physical copy of. For fear that, it might, what's going to happen.
A lot of people say. I mean, I feel blessed to get a copy of Strawberry Chocolate Vanilla, because I tell you what, if I just came onto the scene now, if I went to try to get it now, oh man, I'd be paying through the nose for it.
Yeah.
I don't think just distributors aren't making physical copies anymore. It's like, when I just got one from another company today, and they're going like, we're sending you a physical copy, and it just made my day. I'm going like, man, thank you so much, because we don't see that very often at all. We don't.
To be fair, like a lot of recommendations that we give people with physical media, they are more guaranteed to watch as well. So a lot of our friends, if we all kind of support physical media pretty strongly, we'll share physical media between us, because then you have to give it back. You have to guarantee that you had watched it, because you talk about it every time as well. And the more people that keep that culture alive, the more that we'll have. I
tell you right now, the company I'm excited for, and I'm always looking for it when I go out to look for films, is Acorn. Oh, Acorn makes great. I've gotten some really cool stuff from Acorn, but I'm always worried, like, wow. So, like, does that mean now that there's no longer going to be any physical media? Are they just not going to be releasing it physically anymore? Are they just going to be always strictly streaming? Because I have no chance to get it if it's just streaming. I have no chance at all seeing it.
It's a huge bum out. We had a film of ours in 2022 get released and got a physical media release, which we're really proud of. I don't know if there's going to be a physical media release of American Masquerade or anything that we do in the future. And heartbreaking to us.
I agree. It's heartbreaking for all directors, and all film crew, because you really do make more money on the physical release than you do streaming.
Yeah. And it's also, not only is it heartbreaking for filmmakers, but it's heartbreaking for me as a film fan that can't buy the movies that I want to support and
learn about
and show my love to that filmmaker or whatever.
Yeah.
It's going to be it's coming to Netflix.
And also death of the making of documentary.
Yeah.
That's basically what taught me anything about filmmaking. And it's like, I'm never going to get those again unless they're just used as promotional whatevers. And it's like, let's just I'm all for progression, but also we can't just throw away.
Yeah. Pump the brakes on destroying everything of the old. It's like it's
same with books as well.
But I do think that there will still, at least for a while, there'll still be those boutique labels that are still giving good
carrying the weight.
I'm hoping that because we lucked out with Chocolate Strawberry Vanilla, got a re-release not long ago through TerraVision, and that was a great release of the film. So I hope that our movies like American Masquerade or My Cherry Pie or whatever it is can hopefully find their way to a boutique label like that, because
I think your chances are very good.
I hope so.
All right, we have hit our mark. In fact, I kept you over a little bit. Thank you
That's
for
okay.
your time.
We had a great time.
We have a tendency to do that, so you just have to tell us to shut up sometimes.
Oh, I can go all night. I mean, it's a lot of fun. But you know what? We're gonna save it though. We're gonna save it. So when you come up to New York and you start filming, we're gonna have you guys come back on, and you guys can maybe walk us through a day of the life of some directors.
Hell yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, let's do that for sure. Yeah.
And I've actually talked to Jessica, and I talked to Jessica, and I talked to Galen Howard. They've both been on the show before, so
Amazing.
yeah, I've had them both on, so it'll be like it'll be cool to catch up and see where you're at with the filming. And when the movie's done, we'll come back here and do this again too.
Yeah,
let's do it. Yeah, we would love to join again because this has been great.
Yeah.
I want to thank the chat that's still hanging out here with us. Most of our watches come through replay, so those who are coming back and watch it through replay, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. And if you're new to my channel, consider hitting the subscribe button, the like button, and then drop a comment down below. We will be back here on Sunday night at 8 o'clock. I'll be joined by Hey Internet. It's Eric. He and I, hopefully Al Descartes, aka the Bat, and we'll be talking with Adam Marcus on Sunday night at 8 p.m. You're not the only one that can bring out a Friday the 13th director to the party.
Yeah, no, Adam's great. We love Adam. Yeah,
right. So Adam's going to be coming over here on Sunday night, and we'll be talking about his new documentary, Hearts of Darkness, the making of the Final Friday, and that's my second favorite, Friday 13th.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is so underrated. It's so underrated. It gets me fired up.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. I love that film.
I love it too. I think it's a fun film. I do. I truly don't understand. So I really don't understand the hate it gets. It's ridiculous. I love it. I think it's a lot of fun. The reason why Jason X is my favorite though, because they do have the best final girls. I just say
yep.
I gotta go with the two final girls there.
Kills.
Yeah.
Alexa Doyle can play Rowan, and then Cam 14. That's my two favorites. Plus that's the movie that gave Jason the all-time kill record. He killed he killed a space station. All right, so that will be it for us tonight. If I'm not sure if they're on tonight or not, but if you go over to Hobbs Horror, the midnight hour might be going on about right now. Otherwise, we'll see you Sunday. Stay right where you're at, Addison and Jasmine, and to everybody else, I'm going to say goodnight, and we'll see you soon. Peace.
Bye. Thank you for watching.